Great. Well, Inga, it's nice to meet you here in our strange virtual world. We have just a few minutes now to talk a little bit about resilience. It's one of the topics that the Indigenous student leaders will be learning about in this session starting actually tomorrow. And I know you've had some pretty interesting experiences with both resilience and I think related to the handicraft work that was happening there and how things responded to stresses or crisis. And I wondered if there's a story you could tell there.
Yes, maybe I have to first to tell who my name.
Yes, introduce yourself. Please.
Yes, introduce myself. My name is in Sami. It's Marraspeterubla ja Antirannemarja Inger Anita. In Norwegian, it's Inger Anita Smuk. And I come from northernmost part of Norway. It's Varanger, the area's name, and it's very close to the Russian border and the Finnish border. And I'm also a reindeer herder woman. I'm also raised in reindeer herding yes, and I have we are 8 siblings and I'm the next youngest. I have also 4 children and 3 grandchildren and of course a husband, and we are working with reindeer here in Varanger. So I had my parents were very clear when they said to us children that you have, or especially to the girls, they said you have to take education and come back because we need all of you here in the reindeer herding. So I took an education in handicraft. So I'm a teacher, Sami handicraft teacher, and working with reindeer here. So it has been, because I grew up in 60s, 1960s, 70s, and saw that I had parents who know very much, and they were very good in working with reindeer herding. They had much traditional knowledge. My mother was a handicrafter and she could make everything food, and she used all of the resources from the reindeer. And my father was, of course, he was herding the reindeer herd. So it was very naturally for me to use this knowledge, because I had to work much with my mother and I learned very much from her. But I saw when I grew up that in the school and the society, there was nothing about this. So it was only in our home, it was that kind of knowledge. So, but when I grew up and I was thinking what to do, and I had to come back, then I had to take education which I could use, and therefore it was Sami handicraft. But then I saw it was very difficult to get the materials because everything was changed from my time when I was child, because then we were handling the reindeer by ourselves, we were slaughtering and we were using everything from the reindeer, meat and resources for handicraft. So it was very bad for me, and I get a little bit I think I was going to be a little bit angry because I saw it was so bad, and especially for the women. Where were our work? It was not good to see that it was only the meat which was important, and they started to slaughter the reindeer in industrial slaughterhouses, and we couldn't go over there and take care of the resources for food or handicraft. So I had to start for myself and our family to work with these issues, because it was very important, because food for us is very important and we have to take care of this. So we have food and clothing, which is especially for the Arctic. Today, I see much of the reindeer herders has clothing which is industrial made, and I don't think they are not so good as the clothing from the reindeer skin. So yeah.
Yeah, so there's been a change in how these products are used, and it kind of leaves behind some of the handicraft me, as you're describing.
Maybe you could tell me more about resilience. What is the word resilience?
Yeah, so you know we use resilience as a way to explain how linked social and economic systems can bounce back or bounce forward after shocks or crises, and there are lots of relationships and enabling conditions that allow that to happen. And so, in the situation that you're describing, you have the meat becomes the number one product, and it leaves. It sounds like it left behind handicrafts, but but there are some aspects of society that might allow that handicraft economy to bounce back and maybe become more what we call resilient, because of the problem seems to be that that sort of Western traditions and economies have sidelined some of the more traditional economies, and yet you still will persist in what you do. Are there ways, do you see a future for the handicraft side of the Sami economy?
Yes, of course. You can see today we are losing nearly 50% of the income because they use it as trash. It's not used for anything. So the economy, I'm sure it will be much better. And also, if you use everything for the food, or we could take care of them, of the blood and intestine, head, hooves, everything. So today it is, I think they are using that kind of food for dogs, and it's crazy for me because it's the best. It's the best of the food. And
And from what I understand from the IALUC project and others, they have found ways to produce all these recipes and new ways of preparing those things that would be thrown away in the modern economy, and in that way maintain culture and keep the economy going using some of the parts that they were using for dog food before. That seems to be the direction it's going. There's been a renewal of that approach, that very traditional approach. And that's very encouraging. And that demonstrates, I think, the resilience that is most often found in indigenous cultures. And you talk about how for thousands of years, that's how it was done. And maybe coming back now because there's been some leadership and some work to use those products again.
yes, but it is also I have been working with this. You have to document everything. Yeah. When I had this slaughtering, I tried to make smoked reindeer meat. And when they was listening the way we were doing, then they thought we were crazy because you don't make food like that. You have to make it industrially. It have to be more how it have to be. So it.
Well, I've seen some pictures that make it look very delicious, and I'm looking forward to getting up to Norway to try some of the food, and Finland to try some of these things. And I know we don't have much time left, but before we close, I wondered if you had any last comments about the work you do.
Yes, I hope everything what we have, that we can use it for the future. So I know it's time because I can see it's more and more reindeer herders are losing this knowledge. So if we don't do something now, then I'm afraid we lose it. So we have to continue working with that.
And you have been doing incredible work, and the work of the whole group working on food and products from the reindeer has been impressive. And I know the recipe book even beat Oprah for the global prize. So I know this is doing really well, and I'm impressed by all the work that everybody's doing. And it's nice to chat with you finally.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.